You're someone with a vision for your practice, for your side hustle, and for your personal journey. But when it comes to establishing your path on how to get to where you want to be with your practice, things get a little messy. You're also someone who'd prefer to go in person instead of to groups and listening to everyone else's story. To me, it sounds like you could benefit from one-on-one consulting with our experienced practice of the practice consultants. From $5.95 a month and up, you can work with a consultant that will give you more direction and practical tried and tested tips matched to you and your goals. For more information, visit practiceofthepractice.com/apply. Again, that's practiceofthepractice.com/apply. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Sanok, session number 1333. I'm Joe Sanok, your host, and welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast, where we help you build a therapy practice that is thriving, that you absolutely love. Our goal here is to do both things, to do the thriving side, the marketing, the operations, the culture, but that you absolutely love it, that you don't create something just because you think it'll make you money, but that it's actually something you want to build. Life is too short to make money in ways that you don't want to stand behind. And so today we're going to be talking all about that with one of our group practice conference speakers, who I'll tell you about in just a second. But again, the Group Practice Conference is happening May 4th and 5th here in Traverse City, Michigan. Our main stage keynotes are all 20 minutes long, and then about a third of our time we have connecting, socializing, and digging deeper. We have rented out a 10-room art gallery that's right next to where the main stage is, that we're going to be having conversations that are structured. So, all the people that are in group practices at this level, if you want to meet in here, we're going to be talking about taxes over here. Or we're going to have areas where it's like just meet new people, get to know other group practice owners. To me, the part of a conference that's best is at the end of the day when you go get dinner with new people and you just talk about stuff. That's always the part that I enjoy the most. So we want that embedded within the conference to be something special, something unique that you can't find anywhere else. And Traverse City is right here on the water. It's a beautiful time of year, kicking off your summertime, May 4th and 5th here in Traverse City. So if you're interested in that, head on over to grouppracticeconference.com and you can read more, grab your ticket. At this point, about half the tickets are already sold, so you're definitely going to want to grab those quickly. Now, today, I am so excited to have Dr. Tara Vossenkemper with us, who is a PhD, LPC, and is a group practice consultant, owner, and speaker who helps leaders build thriving teams and cultures without losing their minds in the process. She's known for blending humor with hard-won insight. Tara draws from experience running a successful mid-sized group practice to help others tackle hiring challenges, streamline systems with EOS, and create workplaces people actually want to be a part of. When she's not podcasting about practice ownership or leading mastermind groups, she's hanging out with her family, plotting her future farmstead, and doing her best to stay organized amid the chaos of real life. Tara, welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast.
Thanks, Joe. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've caught up with each other, but as one of our first slowdown schoolers, you have a special place in my heart always. So it's like you've hung out on the beaches of Northern Michigan.
Yeah. That was an incredible experience. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And we're building something similar, but in the Dominican Republic this year. That 7-figure practice retreat's right around the corner at the time of this. So, well, cool. I want to, before we dive into group practice stuff, I want to hear about this future farmstead.
Man, my husband and I, we were on 30 acres and we sold it all to go full-time RVing. And the goal is that there's going to be a farm in the future. What that farm is going to be exactly, nobody knows. It's your guess is as good as mine. We talked about doing a chestnut farm. We had talked about doing sort of a more community-oriented farm. So TBD, but I want chickens again. I miss having chickens. I miss having just a farm feel. Veggie garden in the back.
How long were you on the road?
Only for about 8 months. It was like 7 or 8 months, something like that. Shorter than I would have liked it to be. It was needed. It was really needed. It was really awesome. And I might have done some things differently. And we are stationary right now. Mm-hmm. But we did drop everything, sell everything, and just take off, which was cool as hell.
Yeah, we did that during COVID. We did 10 months on the road
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. Man,
there
it's
is
wild.
something about when you're living on the road that, like, to just be like, okay, do you want to go this direction? Where, like, when you're stationary, you have to kind of think like 5 hours away from me is the same 5 hours, and so
Yes.
it's just a different freedom on the road
Hmm.
to just be able to go anywhere.
Yeah. And to even think about, we hit up Louisiana first. Like we went down south because it was in the middle of the winter that we left. And then we were over on the East Coast and the whole like felt experience of being in Asheville. We stayed in the Asheville area and I think the Blue Ridge Mountains and even in Louisiana, like those two stick out to me. We were not in the New Orleans area. We were right outside of Baton Rouge in a little town called Port Allen. So it was right across the city or right across the river, excuse me, from Baton Rouge. It just felt different. It felt like the people, the way everyone drove, the walking into a store and the experience of talking to the cashier, like everything was so much more mellow and nice. And people, in my experience, people were kinder, like in both of those cities compared
Mm,
to I'm in Missouri. That's where we're stationary. That's where I was born and raised, currently in Missouri, still. And yeah, it was awesome. It was
yeah.
cool as hell. And
Oh,
yeah, five
that's
hours
so
from
cool.
North Carolina is different than 5 hours from Missouri.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
So today we're talking culture, we're talking EOS, we're talking kind of around your talk that you're giving at the group practice conference of spotting a bad hire before they burn out the team. Tell me about some stories of bad hires that
Oh man.
you have had, obviously without naming names, but help
Yeah.
us kind of hear some of those stories of having bad hires.
Oh, um, yeah. So there's two that actually stand out in my mind. Well, maybe three, but two for sure. One is somebody who gamed the system, and it's like a whole different experience where you have a bunch of guardrails and you have like a solid hiring process and you don't realize there are still holes in it for people who know how to play very specific games. And
Mm,
so that to me indicates like, oh, I need to actually shore up my hiring process a tiny little bit more to catch this type of person who might fall through the cracks because that person was gone in a matter of weeks where we realized like, oh hell, this is not actually going to work. Another bad hire. So that's like one experience, I think one type of experience. And even when they left, it was like, you're there for less than 2 weeks. They left, and it was one of the messiest departures that I've ever
mm,
experienced, which I think goes to like sort of points to like gaming the system and really not being the right fit, but in a lot of ways seeming like the right fit from the front end. So there's that experience, which is problematic, of course. And then on the flip side, I think you have maybe like a messy experience in a different way where you aren't as clear about what you need as you think you are. And so you bring somebody on to fit in a role that you think like it's going to look like this, or I need this thing, or maybe your values aren't operationalized, maybe you don't have examples, maybe you're not able to like assess um, you're not able to assess them as a cultural fit, or you know them personally, and so then you bring them in. I'm speaking from example, and then when they get there, and it probably is going to go like relatively smoothly for a while. And then you sort of realize, in my experience, again, these are like my own personal, this is not what I need it to be. Like this role is actually, I need more out of this role. And I have needed more the whole time, but the system was a little too messy for me to actually realize like, oh shit, I actually need you to be doing this. And instead of me or instead of my other leadership team member. And that sucks in a different way because then you have somebody who's part of your team, who's been there maybe for a while, who you think is doing relatively well. And you kind of realize like, ooh, that's actually not going well. Like I you're not performing to the extent that I need you to perform, whether that's not taking initiative or not following up on things that they should be following up on, or not holding others accountable if they have like leadership accountabilities or responsibilities. So that's to me like a different, not only felt experience, a different internal experience, but also like a different logistical and sort of like functional experience compared to somebody gone within 2 weeks, you know? Yeah. So those are two examples that come to mind that I know I have others, but those are like the
Mhm.
first two. And at the risk of taking up the entire time talking about bad hiring experiences, I will stop with those two.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
what do you think people should notice before they have a bad hire? Like, what should they be looking
Man.
for? What should they be looking for in their own systems? That you mentioned bad
Mm-hmm.
operations. What should they be
Mm-hmm.
looking for in interviews? How can they spot this before they, even once they start to onboard, realizing they're not working with the team? Maybe take us through all those different categories.
Yeah, I think that it's going to, depending on the practice, of course, this is going to vary a little bit. So I don't mean to sound, this is going to sound so lame, like I'm just going to sound like a dweeb, but that's okay. For me, it all has to start with having a clear role and a clear seat defined with clear accountabilities and responsibilities, excuse me. So this is like an EOS concept, an entrepreneurial operating system concept, where there's seats and then there's like functions of that seat or responsibilities of that seat. That's different from a position description. So in my mind, I need both. I need not only the specifics of what this role is going to do, but on a more like broad level, let's say, I need a high level view of what major things are they responsible for. No more than 5 or 5 to 7 major responsibilities of this role. I have to be clearly defined about that because when I go to do an interview, I say I, like I'm the one doing it at this point. I'm not. But when me or my team, when somebody goes to do an interview, we have to know what we're talking about. So there has to be some clarity on the logistics of the role and of course, including like compensation package and all of that, scheduling, et cetera, like the actual logistics, including the expectations of the role. Like what do we want out of this person, somebody filling this seat? That is the starting point. From there, once we like get that live, for me, I don't give a, can I say the F word? I
Yeah,
don't
we'll just
care. I
label it
don't give
as
a
explicit.
fuck. Oh, thank God. Okay, cool. I was like holding back, like, oh, can I cuss? I don't give a
I know
fuck
you, Tara. I
how,
put E on there
thank God.
before you put the E in EOS, the explicit
That is
operating
so
system.
funny. Yeah, that's really fair. Um, I don't care at all how good somebody is clinically. Like that is one half. The other half has to be a cultural fit. Like I will not, I refuse to bring somebody onto my team that is sound clinically and not a cultural fit. Period. It's not going
Mm.
to happen. I don't care how good they are. I do not care how good they are. So it has to be both, which means not only in our interview process, we have to be able to assess quality in some form or fashion. And I'm not talking about like look at their resume and see what they've done. I also don't care about that. That doesn't translate to in the chair work or presence. That doesn't translate to like, if somebody says they're good at drawing, cool, draw me a picture and let me see it. And I will be the judge if it's good or not. It's the same with therapy. If we're hiring therapists, it's the same with a dietetics, some sort of like food plan or meal plan. If I'm hiring a dietitian, I want to see it in action. So that's like the value, the quality piece, excuse me. The other piece is, like I said, culture. You have to know your cultural values, excuse me. So the simplest way of doing this, from my perspective, I think the simplest way of doing this is, again, through this EOS lens. It's by doing something like asking for values-based questions and not just, Joe, if I said, do you agree with, transparency, authenticity, and candor as being like really important in a team? You would
Sure, that
probably,
sounds great.
yeah. Yeah, it sounds a bit, do you live out authenticity and candor? Like your
Of
your answer is
course.
going to be yes. Yeah, that's so lame. That's so useless. That doesn't tell me anything. So instead what we might do is ask, give me a specific example of a time in your life when you had to be very authentic and candid about something hard. What happened? How did it go? What did you do? Like you're going to ask for detailed examples of this thing being lived out in their life because if they can quickly give you like, oh, whoa, yeah, okay, well, here's an example. That's them living it out. If they can't give you
Mm.
an example, the probability is that they don't live that out in practice. So that's like all phone screen stuff. Then when you get to, if you want to like continue to vet this person, especially again from like
Let
a,
me
a
just pause there.
cultural,
Well,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think, yeah, and I think that what's assumed there is that you've done that work of knowing what your own values are,
Oh,
knowing what kind of
bro.
business you're
Yes.
building. So it's like, even as you say that, it's like a lot of people might be listening and be like, oh, we don't have any sense of who we
Yeah.
are and what we're doing.
Yeah.
So doing
Yeah.
that internal work as a business, as to what you're building here, like for me with mental wellness counseling, it was a place where you can show up and do therapy, get paid well, and go home. Like it wasn't
Hmm.
huggy feely, like let's be a family, let's have a great culture. It was like you can show up and you can leave. And it was like, and that was because my life was so busy with being a full-time, I was working
Yeah.
full-time, had
Hmm.
parenting stuff. I'm like, I don't want to deal with drama. Now, if
Hmm.
I'm starting a practice right now, yeah, I want there to be different culture. And so I have
Hmm.
to do the work of what am I building here? And so I just wanted to say that's great that
Yep.
you said to pepper that in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I talk about values like they're just really easy. They're going to take you hours to develop, to come to, and they're going to take you quarters to get the right multiple iterations. It's an iterative process where you might develop values currently. I don't even want to say, you know what, that's not even the right language. You might capture the lived values of your practice because
Mm,
there are values that are happening. The easiest way to do this, and again, this is an EOS based concept. This is not Tara talking. This is like we went through this process. The easiest way to do it is to pick the two or three most fantastic people. Like if you could clone these people from your team, pick them, write down every trait individually that you think that they have that you ascribe to them. You do that, you have like another leadership team member do that, or another like trusted partner in the business, you combine those and you whittle it all the way down to 5 to 7. Those are your values. Like if that's what you want to be living out. And that becomes now your baseline for like, is my team currently in alignment with these values or not? So you do have to operationalize them. Like if I say depth and fun, that's one of our values is, depth and fun. Cool, but what does that actually mean? So it's operationalizing it for yourself, for your leadership team, for your entire group to know what this is. And then it is giving some examples of what it actually looks like in practice. And then it is talking about it on repeat to the, like, I don't want to say extreme, but maybe to such an extent that your team could actually tell you what your values are. So if you ask me what mine are, I would tell you right now what they are. I know them, I know them. I've talked to other group practice owners who say they have values, but they can't tell me what they are off the top of their head. They're not getting lived out. So values are not just like, we said it and then we have values. Okay, like you have to actively be living these things out. That's like a foundational premise to the entire rest of the hiring process. And I would say actually to team culture is values need to be lived out, like hired, fired, celebrated, like actively talked about, all of those things. And in doing that, then when somebody comes in for a hiring process, the entire time, so through the phone screen, not only are we actively, my director of clinical ops, I say we, but it's she's the one that does phone screens. She's actively asking some core values related questions. When a person makes it through that process, we do a little team meet and greet. No leadership team involved. It's very low
mm,
stakes. There's like 3 people on my team who meet with this person, the candidate, we do not tell them what to ask. There's no like agenda. The only thing I ask is that they have to be filtering this conversation through a core values lens. And so that's what they're looking for is this person, if I'm thinking about our values, do I see them in this person? And then we do a skills portion, which is the clinical quality piece. And after all of that, we do a survey. So it's a survey for the interview team, excuse me, the hiring committee, anybody in the interview process, and it's 5 minutes or something, but like rating the candidate on core values, rating on whether or not they just the different portions of the interview process, and then making a recommendation. And of course there's like optional comments. All of this probably sounds like I don't know what it sounds like actually, but I think it might sound like it's a lot, and the reality is like each piece went into place at like various times, so it's been sort of built and modified over the years, and it still is something that I like to. I have already in mind where I'm like, oh, I actually want to do this and this for the hiring process. I know I want to change up 2 things. I need to make it a little bit better. This would actually strengthen it. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's a lot of talking, Joe.
No, it's great. Do you want to expand your private pay caseload? Check out Thrizer. Thrizer helps clients better navigate their out-of-network benefits and takes the entire burden of insurance off of them. That means no more super bills, no more insurance calls, and the best part, no more long reimbursement waits. Chances are you're providing a super bill to your clients. Super bills can be extremely overwhelming and challenging for your clients to navigate, let alone needing to wait months for that reimbursement check. Thrizer provides automatic claim submissions, manages claims end-to-end, and the best part, allows clients to just pay a copay for your session, while Thriver covers the rest of your rate upfront and waits for the reimbursement on your client's behalf. This is called Thrizer Pay and is already helping thousands of clients access therapy without needing to be out hundreds of dollars while waiting for reimbursement. It's the best way to make your services more accessible and increase your private pay caseload, hands down. Use the promo code POP for a free trial. That's POP, Practice of the Practice, POP. You'll receive waived credit card fees for your first $2,500 in charges.
Time to thrive with Thrizer. Head over to join.thrizer.com/Joe. Again, that's join.thrizer.com/Joe.
So when people onboard, do you have like a probationary period, or how does that look to make sure that they stay values aligned once they get hired?
Yeah. We just redid our onboarding process probably a couple quarters ago, maybe. We do a 90-day trial period, and we call it that for a reason. Something my HR consultant told us to call it that. So we do a 90-day trial period. In that 90 days, within the first few weeks, I think, everybody has to watch a series of onboarding videos. We do that through a platform called Circle, which I freaking love. And they have to
that's what we use for our membership.
It's so great. Yeah. They just complete the videos they watch. It's like they're indicating that they've completed. You could auto enforce video completion so they can't skip ahead or anything. So in essence, we know that every single person is getting this information from the exact same video. Like, we're trying to make this a uniform process. But I'm not strong culture is really important to me. So at the same time, we have my director of clinical ops meet with the candidate. I don't know if it's weekly at first, and then it jumps out to bi-weekly, but for those first 90 days, there are consistent touch points from either the director of clinical operations or my integrator or the candidate's clinical team lead if they're coming on as a clinician. So the onboarding process is drawn out over 90 days because nobody learns everything within a week. Your onboarding process should be longer than 2 weeks, So it's drawn out over 90 days. There's videos and expectations throughout. There's constant meetings, constant touch points. And even at each of those meetings, there's like sort of key agenda items that my DCO or my integrator might tend to. So the specifics of it, I couldn't tell you because I haven't done it in a long time. Like, I haven't looked at this in a long time, but I do know that it is something that, again, is like evolved over the years and works better whenever we do it that way. People feel really like supported and sort of cared for in the process, which I want that to be the case, and they feel like they are eased into a functioning ecosystem. Like, they're stepping into this practice that's very much alive. And, as well as I do, like, if I went to go work somewhere new, it would take me months to get acclimated. I don't know anything and I'm stepping in new. I want that for people also coming in, which does two things. Of course, it like helps the lengthened onboarding process. It helps them to feel, I think, more at ease and more like connected in. And also it helps us to really stay in tune with how the person is doing. And so we can also pick up on, this is a problem, which is how we caught somebody, but 2 weeks in, it was like, oh shit, this is done. Like this is not, nope, this is not a good hire. Yeah. So it serves a couple functions.
Yeah. For folks that are in that phase of realizing someone's not a good fit, like, what would you suggest they do at that point?
Well, let's assume that, are we assuming that they are in like a at will state or like a, you know what
Sure.
I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think one thing is probably documenting, I mean, obviously like documenting stuff that you're noticing. Um, Another is I I trust my gut, but like I'm not just going to trust my gut. So if I get the sense or I'm sort of like, oh, something's off, I'm going to start to try to quantify what's happening. So I'm not going to make a move quickly unless it's very, very apparent, like this is a fucking issue. Like this is an issue. We need to stop this right
Yeah.
now. I'm going to try to quantify what's happening. Like, um, what is the thing that's going on? Like, are my emails not getting responded to? And if not, have I communicated the need to respond quickly? Are notes not getting done on time, or they're taking like 2 weeks to do documentation, no matter how many and they don't have enough clients to really justify. They're not out of town, you know. So I think that if you're in that situation, I think that there's a lot of practice owners who give way too much grace, like they give way too much leeway, or they like the person a lot. It could be the case that you have a great cultural fit and somebody who is not a quality, like they're not a quality employee, like in terms of performance and metrics, they just are not hitting the bar. They're way underperforming or just not doing things. Those have to be teased apart. Like those are two different things then. So um I hate to say it, because I feel like I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound really vague, but my thought is like you just need to be really clear on what it is that the problem is or what the problems are. Are they cultural? And if so, what specific things are problematic? Are they performance based? And if so, what specific things are problematic? So I think initially for me, I think it's easy to start to immediately tease these two things apart and then sort of like ask questions from there. And then in asking questions when you have information and input, not only can you seek to correct what's happening, but if you've tried to do that multiple times, then you have the decision is made for you. Like you've tried to correct this more than once or twice or three times, like it's just done. And
Hmm.
also, I think this points to like go to your fucking P&P manual. Like if you have a policy and procedures manual, what's the disciplinary process? Follow your disciplinary process. We absolutely have one. I hate it. I hate having one. I hate having to have those conversations. And again, I'm not even the one doing it, and they make my heart hurt. And it's there for a reason.
Hmm. How do you or your team members use corrective action plans? Do you do
Oh,
that?
do you mean like PIPs, like performance improvement plans?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing? Okay, cool. Um, we do, but so our disciplinary process is step one is sort of like an informal warning, like just hey, we're noticing this is an issue. Like we're saying this is an informal warning, just so you know that this is a problem. It needs to be rectified. We do a lot of support. We do a lot of support, like we do a lot of coaching. Like if I notice something with my DCO, if it comes to attention, there's something going on with a clinician, we're going to ask their clinical team lead to step in first and say like, hey, noticing this thing, go ahead and step in, like have a conversation, see what's going on with them. Like, you know, CTL steps in, maybe nothing changes. Then it might be an informal warning. Nothing changes. Then it's going to go to a formal warning, which is documented, it's signed, nothing changes. Third step is that formal warning with a PIP. And now we have a time limit on this thing needing to be fixed. And if it's not, the fourth step is termination. And
Mhm.
so PIPs are very, very concrete. It's very much like this thing needs to be at this number by this date, period, you know? And so we haven't, I'm in a hiring process minus a couple, you know, that one example I gave recently, it really is pretty solid. Like we have not done a PIP it's been years. It's probably been 2 years at least, you know?
Mhm.
So we do use them, but they're like the third step in a four-step disciplinary process, the last step before termination.
Yeah.
They suck. I hate them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do think though support and like coaching, mentorship, supportive, like I want more carrot than stick. Like I'm more inclined to what do you need? Like what's blocking you from doing this thing? Is there any, you know, in some cases we had a clinician who just notoriously bad at scheduling, just notoriously bad at scheduling. absolutely high levels of ADHD at play. So what do? Well, we modified some of the, we just modified things. Like we had client care start to do scheduling slightly different for this person. We had a schedule with me link added to the person's signature line. We have an autoresponder set up saying like, so this person did different things on their end. We did tweak a little bit client care on our end, which I'm not saying we should tweak. There should be little tweaks for every single employee. That would be a mess, But I will say with somebody who is really high quality clinician and also really a good cultural fit, I'm going to be more inclined to make them out, and really it's an accommodation is what it feels like, an appropriate accommodation for neurological, neuroatypicality. And so, yeah, I think going a little bit sideways right now, but.
Okay, no, I think that's helpful. I think that's really
Yeah.
helpful. Tara, the last question I have is, if every private practitioner in the world were listening right now, what would you want them to know?
I would want them to know that you cannot have a solid structure without a strong culture. They are not separate. They are absolutely interwoven, interconnected. It's a fucking spider web. It's not your structure of your business is baked into the culture of your business. It's not separate. They're not two like parallel pillars. They are, it's like a DNA. It's like a genetic code. It's just totally connected. Excuse me. That's what I'd want them to know. Don't ignore one thinking the other is most important, because it's not. They're both equally important. You have to have both. I will die on that hill, Joe.
Tara, if people want to follow your work, where should we send them?
Oh, my website's probably easiest, TaraVossenkemper.com. That's really it. Yeah.
Tara, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been great. This has been fun.
If you want to be around people like Tara, come to the Group Practice Conference May 4th and 5th. That's going to be here in Traverse City, Michigan. It's going to be so much fun. A bunch of people the day after the conference, so on May 6th, are going to be doing Adventure Day. So stick around for an extra day if you want to go to the Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes, if you want to go wine tasting. Northern Michigan has so many fun things to do. So Adventure Day, there's going to be some things that are sponsored by some of our sponsors, but also folks are kind of making their own plans as well. Some are doing the Bike and Brew, where you bike around town and go to different breweries. All sorts of really fun things to do. So again, that ticket is available over at grouppracticeconference.com. 20-minute talks, lots of time to hang out with other people that are building group practices. You're not going to want to miss it. It's the group practice event of the year. So many amazing sponsors. Headway is our main sponsor with us. So excited to have them back from last year as well. So also, we couldn't do this show without our sponsor, Thrizer. Thrizer helps you with your out-of-network billing. Super bills are so last decade, like you should not be doing super bills anymore. It's such a waste of your time. Thrizer helps you do automatic claim submissions, manage claims end-to-end, and the best part is it allows clients to just pay a copay for your sessions, then Thrizer covers the rest of your rate up front while you wait for all of those reimbursement on your client's behalf. You can use the promo code POP for Practice of the Practice. For a free trial, you'll receive waived credit card fees for your first $2,500 in charges. It's time to thrive with Thrizer in 2026. Join.thrizer.com/Joe. Again, that's join.thrizer.com/Joe with POP as the promo code. Thank you for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.